Good morning, Piero. I'm very excited to have you as our guest this time um, to talk about your new book, which will be published soon in August, Econnaisance, and to talk about your insights regarding cities in general and cities nowadays in the time of the corona crisis. But first of all, let's start with a little about yourself. I have known you for many years because Deborah Amidon, she brought us together and we had some great time together, the two of us, with all the other members of Enterprise Innovation. And the E100, she used to call us the E100. And I am very excited to be able to meet, at least on Zoom. So first of all, tell us and the audience that will watch you later, because this is a recorded interview, who you are, Professor Piero Formica.
Well, first of all, thank you very much, Edna. All began in 1997. It was in Utrecht, in the Netherlands. It was a meeting there, and a week later was Deborah who sent me and the others an email for building this society. I prefer the French expression, the salon, intellectual salon, okay, the salonière in French. And she is everybody. Good morning. And who I am, by education, I am a macroeconomist. I graduated in international economics at Johns Hopkins University. And then I began my career at OECD in Paris, the early 70s, doing econometric models for economic forecasting. And then I spent my career after the OECD, I spent my career in academia, not in Italy, outside Italy. I was in several places around the world. And nowadays, the last 10, 11 years, I am at this old university in Ireland called the Maynooth, which is the old capital, middle-age capital of Ireland, where I am embedded at the Innovation Value Institute, which is an organization at the crossroad of science, technology, and the humanities. And I spent my life nowadays as a research professor in the area of knowledge economics. This is my pathway.
Great.
Okay.
Great. This is very inspiring. I believe that complex problems can only be solved when we engage science and technology and history and the art, etc., etc. And this is why I am always very excited to read what you have to write and to listen to you. Could you kindly share with us a little what we are going to read in your new book, Econnaisance?
This is an essay about a sort of a new way of looking at the economy under the point of view of education and entrepreneurship. So the book is focused on the reimagining the education, not a reform of the school, but reimagination. And the other side is what I call the culture of entrepreneurialism, which means not by purpose, okay, to be entrepreneur, but to instill into your mind idea, a way of living as in, I call ideator, people who generate ideas, so that you are no more a worker, you are ideator. And this means this has a lot of implications. Was a psychologist, Professor Skinner, who used to say, we are so concerned about how the robot can learn. So we help the robot to learn. But we, the humans, we will continue to think, to think. So basically, we are thinkers. So we have to dismiss the word worker, since this implies to be again linked to the past civilization, which was the civilization of the waves of the Industrial Revolution. So if we want to survive in the era of technology, robotization, automation, we need desperately to think, to be thinkers. So you don't search for a place where to work, you search for ideas to turn your ideas in initiative. So, which is a word with a lot of meaning. Among the initiatives, there are companies, but not only companies. So what's at the end of the day, our father in economics, Professor Keynes, used to say, okay? So we don't need anymore to work. We need to process, to create and process ideas, the ideators. So this is the basic message of this book, which means, and this is my last statement, this moment, means to leave the I could say this the sort of rigid border between science and humanities, to merge together like the Renaissance time. Leonardo and the others were artists and scientists, okay? Artisan and great thinker. So you merge the science, technology, mathematics, arts. We call this STEAM, rather than STEM, not only science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, but science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics. And in this way, you can recreate, in innovation, of course, what's in Italy, Florence was called bottega, we say nowadays the workshop, where great events and great things have been created for the benefit of the humanity. And not so many months from now, the London School of Economics has launched a program called SHAPE, which means Science, Humanities, and the Arts for People and Economy. SHAPE.
Wow, it's beautiful.
Of STEAM. So that we need to reshuffle the School of Management. The School of Management are in a deep crisis, since the metrics they use, they are no more valid, have lost meaning.
I absolutely agree. And I knew about STEAM, but now I learned about SHAPE, which I really like very much. So first of all, congratulations on this book. We will read it carefully. Uh, I would love to get your ideas regarding something that I consider the number one barrier to innovation, because actually you speak about entrepreneurship and innovation, how they are going to be important in the future. They are already important now, of course, but how they are going to be even more important in the future. And my experience has been that the number one barrier is that there is not enough innovation in business models. And since you come from economy, I would love to get your reaction to that. How can we accelerate innovation in business models? We have a few business models now all over the world. We have capitalism, and we have capitalism with top-down um, management from the government in China. And we have even in our history in Israel, we have the story of the kibbutz, which was a collective type of business model. We now speak in cities about public-private partnership. What can we take from the Renaissance? What can we take from the age of the big thinkers regarding this question of what should be our business models? How will thinkers make a living? After all, we all need to make a living. So your thoughts about that, I am really very, very curious to hear.
My answer may be a sort of metaphor. When we were young boys in the 50s, to dress, we used to go to the tailor, okay? So model. The model was customized. And first of all, the tailor, he or she knew our personality, who we were. So there was a sort of a narrative about ourselves. And out of the narrative came out the model, the dress, the jackets, the dress. So what we need nowadays is to leave the old metrics which we use for modeling the business, and to begin to restart with narratives. Just last week in a journal from a publisher in Chicago, I published a piece called the Homo Narrans. Homo Narrans, from Latin, the human beings which has a narrative, who has a narrative. So we need to come back to the narratives. Now, I'll give you another example, the tailor. Now, the Great Depression of the 30s in the America, Roosevelt time. To learn what's happened at the time and which model to use, is better to look at a mountain of data, or is it better to read the Grapes of Wrath of Steinbeck? The Grapes of Wrath of Steinbeck.
I know.
Okay. So this makes a difference. We need a new narrative, and through a new narrative, we can create a new business model. Not with the actual data and which reflects the old way of thinking. We are slave of the GDP, and the GDP is no more the tool, the good tool to measure the economy since a long time, but basically, especially nowadays, since in the GDP, the nature has no voice, no voice. And the nature is turned into resource, whereas nature is the biosphere. And the biosphere is a living subject, is not a resource. Between nature and the oil, there is a difference, a big difference. So we need to reshape the way we measure the economy. And to do this endeavor implies coming back to the great narratives, the old one and the new one. We need a writer of narratives. So which means, again, back to the workshop, in the Del Verrocchio workshop in Florence, were together the young artists like Michelangelo, Leonardo, and the scientists and the mecenates, people who put money for these ventures, artistic ventures. So we need to create a conversation, from Latin cum versare, which means dancing together. Okay, so this is, without this, we are slave of the past. Let me say the third facet of this reasoning. The word we use around the GDP, or the words, plural, we use around the GDP are all words which are in the realm, in the kingdom of the Industrial Revolution. Okay? For instance, electrification. Electrification was the tool, great tool, to generate the second wave of the Industrial Revolution. Steam, from steam, locomotive steam, then the electricity. But since a long time, we have a third word, which is not so used. The word is knowledgeification. Knowledgeification. How we manage, how we swim into the ocean in the draft of knowledge. And knowledgeification is a new word nowadays. Even though it's old, it's new since nowadays, I could say the last 10 years. Not so many people, they use this word. We need the new words for new business model. And the new words are, the origin of the new words is in the fantasy, imagination. You know, I repeat the words everybody knows. Einstein used to say, imagination embrace the word, knowledge is limited. Okay, so when I say knowledgeification, I mean not only the knowledge we have, but creation of a knowledge. And the creation of a knowledge, in my view, is the result of what I call creative ignorance. I wrote this book called The Role of Creative Ignorance. Why is important to become ignorant? Not to be, but to become ignorant. To create a new business model, you leave at home your knowledge portfolio, and you move toward the unknown with this mind of imagination. I call the creative ignorance. There is a TEDx of mine, is in Italian, but the subtitle are in English, called The In Praise of Ignorance. And we see what's happened about this story of ignorance. Months ago, after the Vienna events of the Peter Drucker Society, each and every year in Vienna, there is a big event of the Peter Drucker Society. They invite young girls and boys around the world. There was a group of them from Africa in November 2019. I was there, they met me, and after 3 months, they wrote to me, and they have created a series of a book which has my name, Formica series, and for creative ignorance. This happened in Africa, not in Italy. You know why? Since the African continent is nowadays empty of the Industrial Revolution. It's empty, it's out of, in some way. Where I live in north of Italy is mechanics, engineering, is Industrial Revolution. We like so much the old words. We don't want to move from the status quo. Whereas the African, in some way, they are free. They are not locked in. The young girls and boys in Italy are locked in. The African boys and girls are not locked in. So this makes a big difference.
I really oh, sorry. Finish your sentence. I really like it very much. And I think that you raised some issues that are enough for more interviews with you. I would love to go deeper into some of these ideas, but we need soon to finish. So I will just like to say thank you for sharing your ideas with us. I love all of them. You are absolutely inspiring. I myself come from liberal arts, moved to social sciences, moved to the interface between technology and society. And I love your ideas, Piero. You are really inspiring us. So we will set more interviews with you because there is a lot to think together with you. So if you want to say the last sentence, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, everybody. And my message is the school is not education school are not about learning, about teaching, are about learning. Train yourself to learn and to ideate, to be an ideator. Our mind is full of ideas. We need to ideate. Thank you very much. Take care.
Thank you very much. Take care and stay well, and we will continue.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you, Lee. Thank you very much.